abatement bonds are for parking lots only for school districts. And there's a couple of extra steps you need to take, and yes, by the way, my name is Sheldon McQuaid with Eller, so you're going to go back there. Let's just dive in. So there's a couple of extra steps that you need to take for the purpose of an abatement bond besides just board authorization. One of those is the abatement. So last time you called for the abatement hearing, so you have to notice your property taxpayers, and so that was submitted as part of the paper. And now you're holding a hearing, and this is a notice to part of your agenda. And so any property taxpayers that have questions can be a part of this, and you'll actually formally call for public comment as part of the hearing. But my purpose here is to kind of explain what is happening and why there's specific parcels listed as part of the notice, because I think that's really the big rub for everybody of why that is. So as we step through the presentation, we'll get into the statutory authority, why you're doing the tax abatement approval process that we're going through, and then where that leaves you. And I think we're still planning around early 2024 for a bond sale, so that you'll have the funds available starting to get into the project. So the next slide just presents the statutory authority for this. And so abatement really is an economic development tool, and you see it used a lot by cities and counties. And it was just a little bit ago that it was authorized for school districts, recognizing there is a public purpose, right, to schools, but it really was limited in that it extended just to parking lots. So there is some, as part of the scope of the project, to have some necessary sidewalks, and that really is integral to the parking lot itself. When you run school, right, you're little kids, and you need to make sure they're not dodging in and out of cars. So parking lots and sidewalks tend to go hand in hand, and lighting associated with that as well. Some of the ultimate limit on the amount that you can abate is really taking a look at a parcel of property, identifying how much school property taxes that parcel pays, and more concretely, the amount of net tax capacity school taxes that parcel pays. So that kind of identifies, when you sum that over your entire district, how much you can leverage against in terms of an abatement. So the scope here is really related to the athletic project itself. And the facilities there. The resolution that you're passing is written to address parking lots and school sites and facilities district-wide, but we're really talking about the scope there. So, so to get into a little bit more detail, what we do in order to, so you can sort of abate any number, any kind of selection of parcels in your district. But what we do as a matter of efficiency is just list the top paying parcels, so that really minimizes the amount you need to abate against. To sort of sum up the total amount of NTC school property taxes, and that becomes your leveraging power on how much levy you can raise on the entire district as a whole. So it sort of becomes secondary that these parcels are listed, because it is just your mathematical equivalent of how much you can raise your entire levy for the purposes of issuing an abatement bond and paying the debt service on an annual basis. So we're at the point, we've called for the abatement hearing, you published in the paper, this is the hearing we're at. And then when you get into your regular meeting, the board has in front of them an authorizing resolution, a resolution granting the abatement. And upon passage of that, then you would be authorizing the issuance of bonds. And for cost efficiency purposes, we've combined them into one bond. So you're actually intending to issue capital facilities abatement and facilities maintenance bonds. And then you have a second resolution that is your certificate of participation. So because those are different structures, your general obligation on which you're relying on property taxes, and then you have your COP, which would be the annual lease revenue securing that, and the general fund supplement. So they need to be two separate authorizing resolutions, but there is some efficiencies that we can gather in doing them at the same time. So once the sort of final step is really where kind of we're looking to, so levy reports came out on Friday, but they are not filled out for your purposes because we needed to go through this step tonight to authorize the issuance because MPE will not put on any debt service levies until the board has acted. So that's what we're here tonight. All right, so just kind of spelling this out again, that was today at your regular school board meeting with a hearing. You'll have the bond closing, so funds available, you'll start investing those funds, and then you can have that money available for those parking lot projects. So it's pretty, I think I've gotten to the point where it feels pretty straightforward, but there's still quite a bit of confusion on what the abatement is, and especially in parcels that are listed. So before I kind of dig into the details of the actual bond term, do you have any questions on that? Okay. So you will be authorizing the issuance and how we generated the amount of abatement needed and the parcel listed in the hearing. We are authorizing the issuance of bonds up to 1.225 million just for that tax abatement portion. We're going to do this over 10 years. It has to be level because we can't assume any, growth in the tax base. So we're going to only abate 100,000 here, but 400,000 here. We want to keep that nice and level over the term. Importantly for your district, this is also a levy that qualifies for the ag credit. So we want to leverage that to the extent possible. So even though you're board approving and not doing a voter approved, it still qualifies for the school building on agricultural credit. So again, the tax abatement is just a portion, the other portion will be deferred in the capital facility. So, but not really included here as part of the abatement hearing itself. Presented before, and hopefully you have all your questions answered on that as well. Okay. So, Madam Chair, I believe we need to call for public comment at this time unless the board has any questions of me before.
Questions? Anyone in the public want to make a comment? So there will be no tax increases to our taxpayers.
There is a tax increase to the taxpayers. It's not just those taxpayers listed in the abatement hearing notice. So you have seen in previous meetings the proposed increase to the property taxes for the abatement portion. And then also for the certificates of participation that will cover just the turf field itself.
So I guess my understanding was from previous meetings that, oh, see their taxes going down.
Yeah, so I guess let me continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the two pieces that actually affect property taxes. But what is also happening, because you have a bunch of new square footage, is that your overall LTFM levy is dependent upon your building age being over 35 years. You will drop below that 35 years of age, and because of that, you will not be able to levy your full amount of $380 per people. So that offset will contribute to that overall levelness to the taxes as part of the overall project.
So I can just reiterate that people will not see an increase in their taxes.
Yes, the way that we have estimated it right now, and tax information is coming to us as a part of this project, specifically, and then the overall levy outside of that as well is not included as part of that assumption.
So when you talk about the lots and whatnot, where are those lots? So which ones are we talking about?
I would have to kind of dig it out. I don't have it off the top of my head. The notice just requires something.
So the ones that were listed on there were the bigger net tax capacity property IDs. They're just put on there so that you prove to the state, if I'm correct, that you have the taxing capacity to pay for the bonds, right? So you don't have to list every single piece of property in the district. That's all I understand.
Yeah, we could have taken the bottom 400, right? It just needs to amount to the debt service that you're required to pay each year. So for simplicity and cheaper to publish a smaller, notice in the paper, then we just pick the top parcels, but pay them both. So right there, you may just have a parcel of the top taxpayer, or a top taxpayer may not even, well, I suppose it would be listed in something. No, it may not, because they may own like 40 parcels, one of which doesn't even make the top list.
So for the lots that we are doing, or are we adding new lots? Is that part of the proposal? And if so, where are they? Because construction is really getting kind of one of those things that just isn't working out very well right now. You know, like when people come to concerts, when I came with my mom, there were no handicap spots available. We had to park way down by the playground, by the city park, because there were no parking spots available. So if we get this new complex, where are we adding parking spots then?
I think that'll pop in the conversation later on. in the
Okay,
deals.
If there's a picture of it.
Okay.
But we're not adding parcels, I mean, it's property
Yeah,
we already
yeah.
own. Property we already own, yeah, it's school property.
When you were saying lots, I assumed you meant the parcels.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, any other questions? The public review, I guess, so.
Okay, so then there's, 3 resolutions, so you'll conclude the hearing or close the hearing, and then you can convene your regular meeting. Take up those, resolutions, and yeah, I'll be here and you can ask questions.
All right, thank you. All right. When it shall be finished, we'll start the regular board meeting at 6:12, 6:13. Okay, let's write. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 3.0, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So,
Second? Second. Any questions or discussions on the agenda? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, 4.0 public comment, I see no one is here. Move on past that. 5.0 consent agenda. I need a motion for approval of the consent agenda. So moved. Jeff? Second? No, thank you. Any discussion on that? No, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, 6.0 communication report. Denise,
Yeah, good evening. As you can tell from the summary that I have from summer activities, it was a pretty busy summer. A lot of great things were happening. On there, just wanted to note that there were 5 night baseball teams, and the coaches are listed there on that summary. We just really appreciate all the volunteer coaches that step up to coach our kids. One thing that really became kind of as grown as the years have gone on and we've had more teams is the shortage of fields. There's a lot of juggling between the fields. We added a junior region team this summer too, so it's to be, not all the teams get the field when they want, and they continue end up being on the field at a different size that they need. So I'm excited to know that there'll be some more options down the road for that. We did a theater performance this summer also, Pinocchio, for junior players, and that was really a lot of fun. On the summary is our summer rec. You can tell all the numbers. I included the last 2 years, so you can see kind of a comparison. Our numbers have been really good. Everything was in Raymond again this year, except for T-ball was also offered in Clare City. One thing that we had offer or do this summer, because the city owns the fields now, is that we had to grade the fields as part of our program. So one of our summer rec staff, then after summer rec in the morning, would grade the fields to be ready every day. So that's something that we had to add on. I did all the scheduling for summer activities on the fields, and I just communicated with the city interest on all of those things. So those went really well. Softball is just always a little harder to keep in our program. Our numbers have gone down some in softball. The other thing is that there's really no other teams that have, or towns in our league that have softball programs. So I have to go out of my way from Riverhead and some of those to find some softball games. Those are in the afternoons, and then pretty soon they're gonna have players for those either. So we'll keep seeing what we can do with that. Pittsburgh also didn't have some rec this year, so that was a team that was dropped from our league. So yeah, some changes that come with just being in a league. 19 ball we had, thanks to Debbie and Brian Branch. It's always hugely successful. Fun to see all the grandparents and the parents out there, watching the little ones out there. We added some academic field trips to our summer program, Hemper Zoo and Lemar Ranch. And then we offered our pool trips again and the kids performance. Another thing that we added for academic enhancement was the Kit Club, and that was offered on Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, and that was led by Amy Schwab. That was something that the families seemed to really enjoy also. Camps, they had lots of camps this summer. You can see the list of those. One fun thing is the cheer team has stayed together, and they've been cheering at the football field, football games. I think they've been having fun doing that. Wolverine workout was offered again, and for adults, we offered the doubles, tennis, and co-ed stand volleyball. So it was just a really great summer, but a busy summer, but a good one. In your packet was my fall booklet. Those cover the months of September, October, November. There's classes and activities for all ages in it. As you can see, some of the favorites were offered again, and we always add some new ones. So, fall football for youth has started. We had youth football night, the first varsity game, and that was a lot of fun. The flag football players were part of the pregame activities, and the 56ers played at halftime. Our coaches are listed there: Lucas Polish, Shane Hansen, Adam Hess, Zach Ruhlman, Jake Laura, Matt Kleinhusen, and Pat Woodpaul. And we have 39 kids. That's the largest we've ever had. And we had to borrow helmets again from RCW, and we did last year, but I ordered 4 more helmets, and we ran out again this year. So I ordered another 5. So hopefully we have enough in our inventory for next year if our numbers stay at that level. We have 31 kids in our 3rd and 4th grade flag football. We belong in the Wilmer League. We have 3 teams. Our coaches for that are Matt Coonan, Ben Peterson, and Travis Roskins. And again, these are parents that step up to volunteer their time, and they're amazing. And just a reminder, I always make sure they pass background searches, and they go online to do their concussion training, and they have to do certificate that they went through. So that's something that I follow through with. And we'll do flag football for 1st and 2nd graders, and that'll start on September 18th. The coach for that is Tyler Anderson. For ECFE and preschool screening, we had our 2nd annual Welcome Back for our ECFE program. Our theme this year was Down on the Farm. So we had a huge machine out in the parking lot. We're to implement, came up with some equipment, Farmers Co-op, and then Sean and Matt Conley came up with their equipment. So that was a lot of fun. It was amazing to see the little kids next to the big tires. Because agriculture has changed so much in the last, quite a few years. And then we had animals out there like a horse and sheep and cows and stuff like that. Part of that, we served a meal for families, and then we had a magician. So it really becomes a huge family event and lots of fun. MCUTS, which is our true ECFD parent education program, will start on October 3rd. And there'll be 3 sessions of those, and then we have standalone classes too for our girls. Preschool screening is September 25th. Again, shout out to Bethany Reformed Church. We have it there, and we're so willing to partner with community and our programming, and that's where we have our serial classes on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings also. Pumpkin Patch Party will be October 28th. That keeps growing over the years too. Our youth scholarship fund, it's really a healthy balance right now. We have $4,468.32. We received a $1,000 CARE collaborative grant, and we're doing concessions on Thursday. So we always try to find ways to raise money for the family so that no child is left not being able to be part of our program. The community garden, I think it's been hugely successful. They seem like they really have a lot of produce out there. I did include a picture of God's garden. They have about 3 plots out there, and a lot of the food that they produce, almost all of it, is given away. A lot of it goes to the Chippewa County food shelf, to the churches, and I think the school might get some of the extra stuff that comes from there. For facility use, Brave Keenest used our gyms for summer basketball camps. Girls around the language better. The 2180 Foundation, not that it falls under community ed, but I think it's really, important to kind of give you an update on where they're at. So I shared with you the fundraiser amount that we raised in May, it was close to $20,000, which is amazing. The drive-through and the community just really supports it. We also received a $5,000 a year grant in the name of Bob and Kathy Condon. They can give it to any nonprofit if they choose 2180 Foundation several times already. And so that's really a nice thing to add to our funds. So I gave you the balances for the SWIFT balances. That's at the Southwest Foundation. They are post our funding and so forth. But our endowment, which is growing, we really have made an effort in the last few years to grow that, because we can use the interest off the endowment for projects also. So the more that grows, the more we can give out to teachers and coaches. So we have a project fund. We like to keep the project fund around 15,000 because that's about what we grant out every spring to teachers and coaches. And the operation is just kind of a general thing that we can use for some ongoing expenses. But since 2009, which was our first grant, we've given out over $175,000 in grants, which is wonderful. It shows a lot of what the teachers and the coaches are doing. So when you add all that together, since we started the foundation, that's $342,000 that we've raised in about 12, 13 years. So I think it's really just wonderful that the foundation exists and that they're really supportive of education. And I want to thank the board for the support that they've shown for the foundation over the years. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Denise, and I want to say big thank you for the great job you do on the community. That is amazing. All right. Jim Kulas is not here. He's up next. If he's just got a quick little bit in here about thanks for approving Braden Hooster, the football volunteer coach. We've got a student that wants to play hockey, so apparently we're in a cooperative agreement with Marshall. The parents will take care of all the transportation and any other expenses. Marshall is not charging the plane, so all we have to do is pay that Minnesota State High School fee. And then he's got a note that the musical is still. So, moving on from there, Mitchell, Kent, you're next.
Good evening, everybody. First thing I did is just wanted a first week update. And there's a lot of good stuff happening the 4 days. With our new staff coming, our returning staff, a lot of new faces, some new students, some new families joining the district. I just feel like it was a really good week. When you think about having almost 400 students together and over 100 staff members, it went about as good as it possibly could have gone. Obviously, I think up here and there, but overall, it worked really well. Having our 4th and 5th grade students have lunch down in the high school cafeteria, the high school commons went really well. Just kind of staging our lunch times really helped get kids to the line a lot faster. That's only going to improve once they start remembering their PIN codes to get to there. So some teachers have their cards ready to go so they can type those in, and it's just, to me, it's kind of crazy. Some of the kids remembered it over the summer, and some of the other ones just within 1 day they got it down and they don't need that anymore. Having our preschool and kindergarten students start toward the second half of the week, it was great. Just getting them in the building, and I told people we're up to full power now. We got everybody here. There was a few kindergartners, just to make sure that they were getting from the quarter-mile long walk from the bus to the classrooms. And I probably walked 2 of them down. Overall, any of them that I asked said they could do it by themselves. So I didn't want to stand in their way, and they knew what they were doing, so I let them go. And I'm not going to start doing individual shout-outs because I would most certainly leave someone out. We had so many staff just go above and beyond and helping each other out, helping the kids out. Just making it just a great and successful first week of school. So I thank everybody who has been part of that. And in open house, I looked at my report from last year, and did see, I was calling in the attendance that we had for that. And then we were right up there getting about 98% or so, and it's hard to tell because of some of the students who are on rosters who are now, in our district, or, they changed their minds and stayed at their previous district, so, just right under 100% with that. Pictures went smoother than last year, I feel like that there was a big flow of that, and it was just nice having, parents have the opportunity to come just throughout the afternoon and the evening, so it gave teachers a chance to actually get to meet with each individual family more so than having 5 people coming at the same time and kind of get bull rushed with that. Made a note here, with our reading curriculum search, we haven't actually started our search yet. What I would like to do is by ending break, we'll have our curriculum team in place for that. And from there, I would say MEA break to around Christmas break, we'll start throwing some options around, but the biggest holdup for that is going to be that they're not coming out with kind of the state approved curriculums until January. So we don't really want to go all in on something and start looking at curriculums that aren't even on that list. So we want to make sure that we are as informed as we can be when we get to that point, and then we'll be able to hone in on what we want to do with that. So that'll be here before you know it, I'm sure. Hiring wise, we are still in need of paraprofessionals, so if anybody is aware of anyone who is looking for a new position or wants to join a fast-paced and fun team, feel free to send them my way. I'd be happy to visit with them. And the last item I have here is we'll have our walk and bike to school day coming up here on the 4th of October. I believe that's a Wednesday, so I'll be reaching out to all of our local agencies here this week as well, just to see if they would like to help participate with the EMS, Fire Department, Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office, and get everybody there for that. So hopefully we get some good weather for that morning and get a good turnout. That's all I have. Any questions?
Just a question of the walk by going to school.
Yeah.
How would you make this for the kids that are not being shuttled over?
That are what?
That are being shuttled over.
So every bus stops. We're gonna do it from the community center again. So any student who wants to participate will be able to. Last year, just, for some health concerns and things like that too, if a child does not want to walk or ride their bike, the buses will still come right to the front door, so that nothing will be altered if they don't want to.
And then maybe this is, I don't know, but anyway, just a quick question, if I'm looking at the chart right for enrollment, if I looked at the end of the year last year, preschoolers, we had 71, and this year they would have bumped into kindergartners, right? We only have-
Well, not necessarily, because we have our three, like our younger, they don't want to
So
call
it's all inclusive of.
Yes,
Of both
so
ages.
there's a number of them that are year 2 of preschool.
Is it the same? Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll just say on there, I asked Kim about it earlier today, the end of year number on that sheet is, yeah, it was, I looked, because I went back to the meeting, it was 795. I don't know, it must have been a formula error in the spreadsheet, is what I could figure it was, so.
Yeah, I thought I updated, I have it updated on here. It'll be right next to you.
What is it supposed to be? Well, yeah, 795, the end of the school year, and now it's at each,
Instead of 735.
yeah,
That's right. 735, then you add in the 6th grade from our. You didn't have to, I didn't catch it. I thought I would change it, but I.
so that's a plus.
17 there, yeah.
But Carmel, when you sent that note today, Kim and I were on the same page, because I traveled over to the office. Did we really have 80 new students?
Yeah,
So, and then lo and behold, that came through, so, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mitch.
Thank you all.
Okay, Joe Leary's next, he's not here, but, you've got his report there, he comments on the workshops and the open house and the trainings that were done. And then some student handbook updates, letters were sent to parents about the, updates to the handbook, and apparently the students had a full period assembly on everything that was in the handbook, the handbook explained to them. And then he's got some updates to the calendar coming up. That's the report. Anybody have any questions or anything else? Okay, then 615, Josh, you are next.
Good evening to all. Before I give my report, I just want to acknowledge that today is September the 11th, and that 22 years ago, there were some people that gave the ultimate price during an attack in New York City. And so I just want to honor those people that also in our community, in law enforcement, and fire and rescue, and EMT, and of course our military members too, that they just give so much. We just remember those things today being September the 11th. So Labor Day is in the rearview mirror. We just started our first day of school, and we've had a great week, as Nicole and Judd alluded to at the correct. What I saw this last week is I saw staff at the door every single morning waving to bus drivers and helping kids find their way to classes. I also saw some staff members having to dry some tears along the way, but they got them on their way, which was, it's just great to see. And then also too, just the engaging conversations that our staff are having with kids in the hallway, in gymnasiums, in the cafeteria, in study labs, in mainstream classes. It's just great to see a super start, to the school year. Mr. Wheatley did have grade level meetings with all of the 6th through 12th graders to talk about policies. But more importantly than policies, he laid out just expectations. And he did a really nice job of just being very honest and open with the kids and knowing that, hey, we have high expectations of you, but we also have high expectations of ourselves. Not just the administrative staff and myself, but all of our adults that are in the building should have high expectations of ourselves. I witnessed Mr. Kent taking time to visit all the elementary classrooms during the first week, sometimes announced, sometimes unannounced. But he has already made wonderful connections with kids. I saw a lot of high fives and fist bumps just from the relations that he made last year, and now will continue into this year. It just makes the school year so much easier just to get in and just go right away. It's like there's no margin because of the great relationships he makes with the kids. And I saw both Mr. Wheatley and Mr. Kent sharing laughs with kids and smiles throughout the week, so they are very much appreciated. We've had 20 new staff members join us, which is great to see, but that also adds, learning curve. And I've seen many faculty reach out to help their counterparts. Again, just to start the year off with a good foundation. We have, in the last couple of weeks, we've had tennis match. We've had multiple home volleyball games. We've also had 2 home football games back-to-back Fridays. Mr. Trulock has done a wonderful job of just getting all the workers and the officials and things like that in line. It takes a lot to get all those staffs put together before school starts. You get the ticket takers and order all the popcorn and all those different things organized before the school year starts. And Mr. Trulock has done a wonderful job with that. Also connected to football, this last Friday, you came into the building. Varsity football players of all sizes and shapes were greeting the kids at the door out on the flagpole, which could be a little bit intimidating if you are 5 or 6 or even my age to walk through. But it was great to see those kids. They were all dressed in pretty football uniforms, greeting the kids and holding the doors and getting them off to what they call caterpillars. It's a rope that has a bunch of circles on it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, but they get preschool kids from one place to another. Yeah, they all grab a hold and they're set. And then also too, just across the state, negotiations certainly are with us from all of our different work groups, but really it is our desire to work with each group respectfully, listen to them, and collaboratively update their contracts. An update. Anything for me?
All right, 6.2 is committee reports, and we had a PLC meeting, last week, I believe, so coming up, John, you're gonna share what we discussed on this? I don't know what to put it up. You can put it up on the meeting organizers before. also in the packet, yeah, the one thing we have to remember, this diagram does not show, what we are doing in the first phase, it's just the alternate final master plan, yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah, we discussed, a lot of, well, basically every piece of this, drawing from the, track to its extents and how we get in and out. We kind of, they had different options for parking, different options for the practice field. You can kind of see what we landed on here. Since we had that meeting, we did get some more input from the track, or at least one of the track coaches that, we'll be bringing up at our next meeting, which is this Wednesday morning.
Yes, and I will say those are very helpful, and they were observations from track meets at other facilities at other schools, so it's great to get that feedback.
So they know what they want, and I think it's our, in our best interest to listen. Chris, does a really good job at, taking those ideas and saying what's feasible for us and what's not. We did discuss some different bathroom, facility scenarios. It still sounds like it would be possible, but at a very, very high cost. So what we kind of landed on, for the time being is the trailer style, porta potty that can be heated and cooled and has electricity. I don't know if you need any more, I know.
Yeah, a couple different locations, where we thought we would have put in a restaurant somewhere.
That one right there,
Yep.
and on the other side of the gate there.
And I think we even talked about maybe by that restaurant.
Yeah, and I think they were talking about possibly 2 trailers and then some singles down.
Yeah. Well, we can adjust those locations as we find out where we're most effective.
Basically just getting a small slab for and electricity there. And we decided, what was it, $8,000 or $9,000 a year to get those trailers.
Oh, I think it's, at the most.
If you had them for, yeah, if you had them for a full year, it would be, and I told them,
We wouldn't need a further one.
but the maximum would have been under $10,000.
Yeah, so you can see that there's a couple of different places. Yes, and then for now, right, and that parking that's only 38 stall parking there, can also then be utilized for staff, teaching staff that, can come in on that side of the building, so. Be used more than just at the time we're using the field though.
They weren't for sure on whether they would handle it or not, because that service road in the back of the school is kind of narrow, and then they would put in some sort of turnaround at the end of it. It'd be called a lollipop, but, so it may be angled just for you to get in and out.
And then the area that's just north of that parking, where you have the 4 fields to the left there, to the west, but to the east side of that little walkway or whatever, then could be a staging area for the kids when they're doing their track, and they're setting up their, little tents and various things, so, nice spot to get them kind of out of the way of what's going on the track, but yeah, right next to it.
One other thing that I'll add is that originally they had a shortened practice field for the football with the 2 discus, arcs way overlapping, and because they moved it to where it's currently laid out there, they get a full-size field, and then the discus, throwing areas, depending on the wind, don't interfere with each other, basically. They said that what they have drawn would far exceed the state records for high school discus.
To add what John's comment to, on for discus for track and field, you never be throwing out of both of those at the same time.
Correct.
There was hopefully only doing 1 baseball field, 1 softball.
So there's 2 more fields there for you.
Which one, Mom?
Hopefully four someday. All right, any other questions on the project?
If I could just add a complimentary comment, the board members that were part of POC, Julie, Carmel, and John, they were very active in that conversation that day, and they did a very nice job of representing not only the rest of you, but also the community through the things they asked tough questions, and support was appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, and also that extra parking will be available for other events at school, not necessarily tied to it. So we have the lighting and everything set up, so that works with other events. Okay, yep.
One other question, early on, there was talk about doing like the walking path, that direction, did you ever hear of the?
Yeah, we did not.
Okay, gotcha, so would that be factored in?
Possibly,
So,
we're considering some other options too, and we thought they would have more grants in the spring, smaller ones, but. Part of the thought is maybe work with our construction class.
Yeah. He didn't bring that up at all in our last meeting,
Yeah, we don't.
none of that was.
Right,
That's been,
we can bring that up, this week.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and we work on, keep working on the grants and other funding options for that, so. Okay, 6.3 discussion items, I was gonna bring up the grant, but you've got two of them. Anybody else have anything under 6.3 discussion? Okay. If not, we'll go on to 7.0 business items. And I need a motion to certify the 23 paid, 24 levy for the maximum amount.
I'll make a motion to certify it to the maximum amount.
Okay, second. Cover. And I don't even have a sheet for it because the state hasn't gotten all that information together yet, and ours will be changing with the rest of the resolution. So once the state has that uploaded, you can print off that form. Okay, so there's nothing to read off for that? No, everybody in the state having this year until September 15th to enter all the data for them to create those. So we're ahead of schedule here, but it has to be done by the 30th, so we need to do it now. And when we do maximum, then we're safe, no matter what fluctuations happen later. Okay. If we do set amounts, we're capped there. Yep. All right, anybody got any other questions on that item then? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, those opposed, nay. Okay, so that motion. All right. Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it earlier, but the granting of the.
Because I was wondering when you said that these are the order that the attorney sent it, so I just read in that order. But we didn't concern about that. So where are we, which one is that?
With the roll call for all of
Yes, yeah. So 7.3. All right, need a motion for 7.3 for the resolution relating to property tax abatement for parking lot projects and granting the abatement.
I'll make the motion.
And now, second. Okay. The resolution. And the whole thing? This one here.
Just a second.
Yep, it was second time after the three. Sorry about that.
Just read it.
Yes, I think we can just read out. We can read off all the minutes about the, all of the extra stuff there, so I think we can kind of just.
Resolution relating to property tax abatement, parking lot projects granting abatement. Be it resolved by the school board of Independent School District 2181 Public Schools to vote
titles. Findings. Okay, the ending of tax abatement, if the, exhibit A of the property ID number shown. We might just read the last portion. Okay, granting of tax abatement, property tax abatement is hereby granted in respect of property taxes levied by the district on the property for 10 years, commencing with taxes payable in 2024 and concluding with taxes payable in 2033. The estimated total cost of the abatement is $1,605,392 over 10 years. The district shall retain the abatement and apply to it payment of all or a portion of the costs of clearing and constructing the improvements or to the payment of bonds of the district issued to finance costs of acquiring and constructing the improvements, whether such bonds are issued pursuant to the act or other law as authorized by section 469, 18, 15, subdivision 2 of the act. The abatement may not be modified or terminated by the board during its term. And then those property ID numbers are the ones that are listed, the top ones that will cover the everybody. Any questions or discussion on that? Okay, if not, do you have anything to add to that, Jody, at all?
All right, we'll do roll call. Deb,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Carmel,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that resolution is passed and adopted. Okay. Any other particular order we need to go in here now? Okay, we're good? Great. Let's go back to 7.2. I need a motion for a resolution stating the intention of the school board to issue general obligation facilities maintenance, capital facilities, and tax abatement bonds, Series 2024A, in the aggregate principal amount of approximately $2,695,000, and taking other actions with respect thereto. Any discussion or questions on that? And I need a motion. I'll make the motion on that one. Can you get a second?
I'll second.
Good work. Fine, thing here. That's right here. All right. Okay, again, I will, many pages here, we'll try to summarize it here. Resolution stating the intention of the school board to issue general obligation for facilities maintenance, capital facilities, and tax abatement bonds, Series 2024A, and the aggregate principal amount of approximately $2,695,000, and taking other actions with respect thereto. Be it resolved by the school board of Independent School District number 2180, McRae Public Schools, Chippewa, Candioi, and Renville Counties, State, Minnesota, as follows. The board proposes to issue general obligation facilities maintenance bonds, capital facilities bonds, and tax abatement bonds. They've determined what those bonds will be. The facilities maintenance bonds are listed, capital bonds. Page. Yes, and then the tax abatement bond information is listed below. Okay. There is a covenant as to the state credit enhancement, information relating to the sale of the bonds, the authority of a municipal advisor, the acceptance of proposals, the authority of bond counsel, which is the law firm of Kennedy Graven. There'll be a notice of issuance of facilities maintenance and capital facilities bonds, and there'll be a reimbursement from bond proceeds. A declaration of intent will be part of that. And the requirements for that, declaration made not later than 60 days, and reasonable expectations and official intent. So, any questions or discussion on that? If not, we'll do a roll call vote again. Deb Brandt?
Yes.
Deb Brandt? Yes, I'm sorry, Scott?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Carmel?
Yes.
And myself is yes. So that resolution is passed and adopted. Okay, 7.4, I need a motion for a resolution stating the intention of the school board to issue certificates of participation, Series 2024B, in the maximum aggregate principal amount of approximately $1,975,000. So, motion please.
I can make the motion.
Okay, Carmel, thank you. Second? I'll second that one.
Yeah, it's the last one. Resolution stating the intention of the school district to issue certificates of participation, Series 2024B, in the maximum aggregate principal amount of approximately $1,975,000, and taking other actions with respect thereto. Be it resolved that the school board of Independent School District 2180, McCray Public Schools, Chippewa, Candy, Ohio, Renville Counties, Minnesota. Findings, authorizations, and determinations. The Act, Authority of Municipal Advisor, Neighbors and Associates. Sale of certificates, the acceptance of proposal, Authority of Bond Counsel, again, Kennedy and Graven. Limited obligations, non-appropriation, representations, warranties, and covenants. Reimbursement from certificate proceeds, which include declaration of intent, declaration made not later than 60 days, reasonable expectations, the official intent.
All right, any discussion or questions about that? All right, if not, we'll do a roll call vote again. Deb?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Carmel?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, so that is passed. Okay, and we have a bunch of policies here, 513 through 624. I need a motion to approve the first and final reading of those following policies affected by the new legislation. Policies 513, 601, 603, 604, 613, 616, 617, 618, 620, 621, and 624. I need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, all right, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All right. Okay, can you help us out here a little bit,
Sure.
Josh?
So it's hard to believe that at the beginning of July, we had 30 policies, and now we're down to the last 11 of them. The last two, 621 and 624, are brand new policies, but all the rest of them can be lumped together as an update. So if I look at the language of each of those, there's an update this, update that, update this, update that throughout the thing. So it's not a change of any of those policies. So 621, 624, the very last ones are brand new, and those have to do with 621 is literacy and read act, and then 624 has to do with online instruction, and the others are simply updates.
All right, thanks. Any questions or comments on that? The online instruction, is that they never had a policy on that before, apparently?
Correct.
Okay. And the literacy and read act, that's new then?
That is new.
That is new, okay. And is it replacing something else or not?
That is a good question. Mitchell, do you know if that is replacing something? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I believe it is just
additional.
The additional information.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions or discussion on policy?
I just have a question on 616.
Sure.
Page 3, the very top under the comprehensive continuous improvement of student achievement, it says by, and the date isn't filled in, and I think if we have a policy, we need to be accountable to that policy and have the date in there.
And the date on 6/16?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you, Deb.
anything else? Okay. If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right. Motion carries. Okay, we are down to 8.0. There's our list of our upcoming meetings there. So I need a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Scott, second.
Second.
Okay, all right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. All right.